And I realized that my quest for authenticity started when I was a child at the age of 8 and woke up one morning with a violent earache. To the doctor we rushed with lightning speed to be told my ear would always be. It seems the cold started in the nose, traveled through a weak tube to crust on the earlobe, creating a hole in my middle eardrum as my authenticity journey was then begun. You see, at the age of 8, I woke up one morning, it was July the 5th, and my pillow had all these brown spots on it. And I wondered, what is this? So I grabbed my pillow and ran to my father because I figured he knew everything most fathers did, right? He said, there's something wrong with your ear. We went to a doctor. My dad was a dentist, so we were able to get to a doctor that same day and found out I had a hole in my eardrum. They called it a perforated eardrum. And that led to antibiotics to try to stop the infection. And that led to rash on my neck because the penicillin didn't work. And that led to another series of antibiotics, none of which worked. Then I went to the hospital for them to test the stuff coming out of my ear and figure out how to stop the infection. So they found one thing that would stop the infection, and it was administered in the doctor's office the next day. I was 8 years old, went to the doctor's office, and it was an ear, nose, throat doctor. And I should have had a clue when I sat in the chair and my mother stood next to me and the nurse stood at my foot. And the doctor said, I'm going to stop the infection in your ear, but it's going to hurt. But I was a very resilient child and very strong. I said, hey, no problem, I can handle it, not a problem. Little did I know. The doctor pulled out this instrument that looked like a long sewing needle, a little thicker. And at the bottom of it, he put a little piece of cotton. And he dipped it into a clear solution, tipped my head over, and put a cone in my ear. At that point, my mother grabbed my arm, and the nurse grabbed my feet. And the doctor then began to take that needle and just slowly put it in my ear until the liquid in that ear felt like acid on the inside of my head. I was 8 years old. I hollered and hollered and hollered and felt so embarrassed walking out of the doctor's office still hollering or whimpering and crying. All the way home, I kept telling my mother, slow down, because every time she would get over a rock or a stone, that liquid would move and find another space in my head to gain pain. And then when I got home, I had to walk very slowly up the stairs till I got to the bedroom to take off my clothes and lay down. And then I could relax and just cry myself to sleep. Because it really hurt. I could see some of you could feel that, right? Then I had to go back every few weeks to have it done again. And then I had the whole year of age of 9, I had earaches regularly. And that's when I had I don't know where they came from or why, but it was like God was taking a fingernail and just put it inside my ear and just not letting go. And it shaped my life, to say, in many, many ways. And when I was 9 and I was in Buffalo, New York, visiting my grandparents, the earache came. And my grandfather said, he was a Baptist minister, and he said, I can stop your ear from hurting. And I said, what can a preacher do? The doctors have done this. They give me shots, they give me pills, they give me drops, but nothing would stop it. And Grandpa just laid me down and said, and he prayed on my ear. He said, I can stop your ear from hurting. And he prayed, and my ear stopped hurting. And needless to say, that was also a major event in my life. And so first the pain was a major event at that age, and then the praying was a major event. And the third thing that happened is that started a journey of 40 years of taking antibiotics. Which, you hear about stuff now going off the market because it's not proven. What I didn't know that in the 50s, antibiotics had not been, how would I know, had not been tested. Well, I guess it was the guinea pig. Well, needless to say, a lot of the issues I have now, and I've had like 8 surgeries in hospital over a dozen times, whatever, but most of them go back to antibiotics. So all of this helped me to look at what's with this reality stuff, because when I was going through this pain as a child, the adults in my life didn't get it. They were so busy doing their life or whatever they were doing, they didn't understand what the needs of a child in so much trauma and a child having so much pain, and how to help a child with this pain, to deal with it, so that the thinking that I began to create to avoid the pain ended up being how I looked at life, which is not a good way to look at life as an adult. But how do you know that? Because you just go by your experiences. So I began a quest to wonder, why is it that happy-go-lucky children turn into troubled, confused something adults? They don't get it. And so the rest of my life I spent looking at that. I got my degree in early childhood, and I directed Head Start programs. And I wondered in Head Start, but Head Start, if you don't know, is an early childhood program for children of low income. And I directed the Charles Drew University program and several others. And I wondered, why is it that only a small number of these employees really give a crap about the kids? Most of them are just there for a job. And those of you who are teachers, I see you nodding your heads that you know that that's the case. But when you're dealing with lives and personalities and human beings, it's a little more, I think, than just a job. And if not, maybe that's not where you belong, okay? Authenticity. And then I ran a speakers bureau. I was the first African American woman to open a bureau for African American speakers. I did that for 12 years. And what I found so interesting in that is I would meet so many speakers, and I would meet them and coach them and ask them about their speaking career, and they'll tell me, I want to be just like whatever name you want. And I said, okay, let me see you speak. And then they would start speaking just like that person. And it never works, because that's not authentic. That's not who they are. What is it? What is this masquerade that people seem to be in? And so I ask you, have you ever been to a masquerade? To see the parade of people playing people. What a charade! How can you go to a masquerade if you do not know your role or soul? It's paradoxical, but they hide so well, you know. Watch the parade. There they go, each playing their role, dealing with their soul. So paradoxical. The Messiah, the Pope, the Lord of dreams and hope, who walks and talks in circles. He really sees reality. Afraid of its dichotomy, he wastes his life on dope. But a mastermind, goddess of womankind, her only hope, a man to find. As far as anyone can see, fares well with life's reality, but drinks her life away. Squire of looks and the dresser, open pockets, true aggressor. Objective, not to be the lesser, dealing with reality by working right away. Insecure and nervous lady, appearances are often shaky. Reality's a little hazy. She seriously finds it crazy. She smokes her life away. Mind maker, memory machine, Christ of creativity through Christianity, political machinery. Frustrated by reality, he prays his life away. Angel of sunlight, ministry's delight, always does just what's right. Lives in her own reality, and with its ambiguity, she spends her life in flight. The chanters, the gossip gabbers, the dichotomous monotony, don't even know reality. They do not feel, they do not care, they do not know, they will not be. They are reality. Robot their lives away. Who hurts most? Those who cannot see, or those who want to be able to deal with life's reality? Who is free from life's reality? The dichotomous monotony? Or those who in their soul can see what reality can be? How did we get this masquerade? This parade of people playing people? This charade of life's reality? How did we get this crazy reality and these different views of reality? And so I began to look at people and study them and wonder. And I began to look at my early childhood background. And you know how children in preschool age are so free and happy? And when they're in a preschool classroom, if you've been in one, they have a chance. They can go play in the jungle gym, they can go paint, they can go in the dramatic play, they can go wherever they want. And when bathroom, wherever you need to go, please go, right? But then kindergarten and first grade, get in line, hold your hands, be still, raise your hand to go to the bathroom, be quiet, get in your cubicles, and some of us stay in those cubicles all our lives. And some of us forget that joy of preschool, of who we truly were, of who we are, we lose sometimes when we choose to take the job that will pay versus the passion that will take care of us inside. and it makes a huge difference. And this is also to parents in the room, is that life is moving so fast and changes are occurring so rapidly that we can't predict them. So one of the things I suggest to parents, for example, is do not try to pick your child's career, okay? Because God made the child one way and gave certain gifts, right, to be one way. Now, one thing none of us know is what life's going to be like in 20 years. How many of your parents or grandparents knew you could talk to India on Skype in your generation, right? That would have been unheard of. So for all we know, our grandkids can dematerialize. Who knows? Okay? You don't know. So try to help them to be an accountant might make no sense whatsoever. So raise them by the gifts they were given. The creator that made them has more sense than what we do. They have a sense, I mean, they're planning and manipulating, right? What's going on in multiple years, whatever. I mean, they helped me figure out, they helped me do something that showed up 30 years later. I didn't know, I just followed. So same thing with you. If you just follow the gift and follow the authenticity and follow your own reality, then wherever you end up is where you're supposed to be. Because you're following the voice that's guiding you. The voice that knows far more than you do. Because what we've learned in my research with authenticity is that authenticity is based on 3 voices. We talk about authentic voice, and you'll hear me and the other speakers coming in today talk about authenticity. We may use authentic, we may say authentic voice, we may say authenticity, we may say spirit, we may say universe. It's all the same stuff. It's all just being the person you were intended to be. Being you, doing you, helping your children to do that as well. So connecting with the real you. So the 3 voices are your inner voice, which is the voice that nobody hears but you. It's your voice. It's your voice and your connection to your higher power and how you receive information. We're going to learn a lot about that today. The second voice is the outer voice. And the outer voice is how other people perceive you. When you walk in a room, when you saw me in my long dress and my orange, you probably had one thought. When you saw me with my cane, you might have thought something else. You saw me in a wheelchair, you might have thought something else. So you may have had many views of who I am, what I'm about. When you heard me speak, you might have thought something else. And you're still basing a judgment based on my outer voice. But now you can connect that with my inner voice, because what I'm saying relates to the inside of me. And what you see is the outside. So it's 2 different, and we're going to talk about that as far as authenticity. We're going to go one step deeper, and we're going to talk about your expressive voice. And your expressive voice deals with who you have become, how you have used your inner voice and outer voice, and how you put it together, and who you've ended up to be on this planet, and how you show up on a day-to-day basis. And that's what we're going to give you an assessment for.